Hello, in this video, I'm going to tell you all about supersets. So supersets are considered an advanced form or advanced technique in resistance training. It's where you perform 2 or 3 different exercises back to back with either very short rests in between or no rest at all. So a superset would be a set of the first exercise, followed immediately by a set of the second exercise, and then followed by a short rest. So that would be one superset. And then you would repeat that for however many sets you plan on doing. So they're not more effective when it comes to building strength or muscle mass. But the advantage is in time saving. They're very efficient. So you can get a lot more work done in the same amount of time. So although a superset is not going to build more muscle than if you just did those 2 or 3 exercises separately for however many sets. But let's say you only have an hour to get into the gym. If you can do twice as much work in that hour as you would if you weren't using supersets, then yes, that is going to help you build more strength and muscle mass because you were able to do twice as much work in the time that you had allotted. So it's a matter of making your workouts more efficient. And for many of us, that means that we're able to do more work because we can't necessarily stay for twice as long just because our workout takes twice as long. Now, supersets work when you're doing any kind of light or moderate to kind of heavy weight. But if you're getting to really heavy weight, then supersets are not going to work for that because you need to have more rest in between if you're lifting really heavy. So just something to consider. But for anything less than very heavy, supersets are going to help your workouts be more efficient. Now, there are 2 different ways that you can do supersets. We could do antagonist supersets or same muscle supersets. Antagonist supersets means that we are alternating between exercises for opposing muscle groups. So the advantage there is that let's say we start with a bench press and then do a seated row, and those are the 2 that we're alternating for our superset. While you're doing the bench press, the muscles that you use for your seated row are resting and vice versa. So they're considered non-interfering supersets in the sense that one exercise is not exhausting the same muscles that you use for the other exercise, so that theoretically you can work at the same capacity. So you can often work at the same load and complete the same number of reps as you would if you just did 3 sets of bench press and then 3 sets of rows. So that's the real advantage, is that you can save a lot of time on rests between sets, but still work at the same capacity, short of very, very heavy lifting, which will require more rest. Then the other type of superset would be a same muscle superset. So that's where we're alternating 2 different exercises that are targeting the same muscle group instead of opposing muscle groups. So in that case, you're giving more time under tension to a single muscle group, which makes it more intense. So you're doing more reps and more challenge to the same exact muscle group without having that rest that you would have if you did them separately. So again, it's not necessarily going to be more effective in your muscle building, but it is a way to add variety to your routine and apply a different type of stimulus to the muscles. So you know that when we're doing the same thing all the time, your muscles adapt very quickly, and eventually that exercise stops working. You stop gaining from doing the same thing all the time. So a great benefit of both types of supersets is that it's a way to add some more variety and change the type of stimulus that you're applying. So even if you're using the same exercises that you've been doing, if you're using them in a different sort of pattern, like a superset, instead of just doing 3 sets of the same thing, and then 3 sets of the next thing, you're changing the nature of the stimulus, and it's going to sort of keep your muscles on their toes. And it's going to help you achieve greater gains than if you're just continuing to do the same thing all the time. So it's just another technique to add some variety. Now, usually with same muscle supersets, you're going to have to go down on the weight a little bit. Like you might be able to use the same weight for the first set, but as you keep going, you're going to have to go down on the weight usually because your muscles are fatiguing much faster than they would if you're just doing one exercise for 3 sets. So if you're doing 2 exercises for 3 sets, they're going to be a lot more tired by the end than if you did 1 exercise for 3 sets. So same muscle supersets are a great option if you're training for physique compared with strength. So antagonist supersets are great for strength because you can keep your the load and the reps up. But for same muscle supersets, it's a great choice if you're training for physique because you're able to apply a different stimulus and fatigue the muscle in a different way. But because you have to go lower on the load and sometimes the reps, it's not the best option when you're training for strength. So an example there on exercises that you might alternate would be like bench press and chest flies, where it's 2 different exercises, 2 different movements, but targeting the same exact muscles. All right, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.